So just because a curriculum is good and I have all these field trips in mind, activity is educational, it doesn't mean that all of this needs to be in the homeschool year this year. At the time of recording, it's August, and if you're staring at a list of like 100 things you want to teach while you're feeling your chest tighten, this video is for you and for me. I used to think that being a good homeschool mom meant doing all the things, right? The nature walks, the Latin roots, the elaborate history timelines. But I realized that by trying to do everything and do everything perfectly, I was losing the best things about homeschooling, which is like the flexibility, the margin, and especially our peace and our joy. So today I'm sharing 5 things that I am reminding myself about as we enter this new homeschool year and hopefully enjoy it instead of just surviving it, right? Hi, I'm Nakia here on Homeschooling You. I talk all things homeschool as well as integrating our own growth and development as parents. And so, my number one pointer for this year, starting the year without overwhelm, is um, to really reject that temptation to overbuild, right? Because I already done this. I don't know about you, but I was sitting with some homeschool friends, mom friends the other day, and we were already like, so where is it all going to fit? We live in Maryland, and our requirements are that we have 8 subjects that we have to do. And they all have different levels of frequency, but they all have to happen in a week. And so we're already walking through like, how are we going to do this, the curriculum, the extracurriculars, field trips, what about foreign language? How are we going to do music this year? And of course, we got to get socialization in, right? And it's so easy at the beginning of the year to overbuild and feel overwhelmed very, very quickly. But one of the things I have to remind myself is that I get to design how I want the year to be. I am the director of our homeschool, right? That is why we are homeschooling. And so I get to determine the pace, I get to determine the kind of energy I'm bringing into the year, and I get to determine what the learning environment is like. And so I can release unrealistic expectations for myself, whether it's based on just my own standards or whether it's based on what everybody else is doing and all these YouTube videos on homeschool curriculum and, planning my homeschool year. I can release those expectations and really sit before the Lord and say, God, what is it that you have for me and for my son for this year? And let that be my starting place. And remember that, I get to make the decisions that are going to be best for us as we approach this new year. Another thing that I am reminding myself is that I get to think through and decide how I'm going to incorporate the things that are core. So, like, this time of year is really making me think about what is it that really matters? What type of things are core that absolutely need to happen? And then what are the things that I can kind of hold loosely, right? So that's the second pointer is being able to differentiate between what really matters, what is core, what absolutely has to happen every day, and what I can hold a little bit more loosely as we enter the year and see how it goes. The third thing that I'm reminding myself this year is to leave margin in my schedule. Y'all, I'm a schedule girl. I'm a to-do list girl, a schedule girl, a planning girl. And so I'm already like, okay, 9 o'clock to 9:20 is going to be this. 9:30 to 10 o'clock is going to be this. And this is my third year homeschooling, but I know from at least the 2 years that that schedule never really sticks. Like it's a little bit more of like a routine for us, right? So we hold the times loosely. We wake up about that time. We move through the subjects about that time. But it is not a strict 9:20, 9:21, 9:25, right? And that is good. That is good, at least for our family. That works well to have that flexibility, to leave room for spontaneity. And then you never know what's going to come up for your child if something that you are working on with him or her is, harder than you expected, or it's taking a longer time for them to catch on. You got to account for them having a bad day, you having a bad day. At the beginning of the year, you got to account for just y'all all just trying to get back into the rhythm of it again, right? Can I get an amen? And so I'm just reminding myself like margin is good, like white space in the calendar, white space in the daily schedule is good, and that will allow even more space for flexibility and spontaneity and rest in our schedule. The fourth thing that I'm reminding myself is that, listen, it's very easy to do a plan and to not put yourself in the plan. other than the fact that you're the teacher. And so one of the things that I'm reminding myself is what things am I going to put into the plan that is for me, right? To make sure that I'm good as I'm pouring into my son. And one of the things that I'm blessed I have the opportunity to do is that on Fridays, my husband works from home. And so Fridays is kind of like my fill your own cup day. Now, the only downside to this is that I try to put everything in that day, every doctor's appointment, the therapy session, the Pilates, right? But the great thing about it is that I have that opportunity. We do a 4-day homeschool week, and then the fifth day on Friday is for makeup. So if we didn't get to something that I was hoping we would get to on Friday, or if we need to revisit something on Friday, or if we take a field trip one day and then I need to make up stuff on Friday, Friday morning is for that. But I try to be done by like 11, definitely by noon on Friday, and then have the afternoon for filling up into my cup, afternoon to evening to fill it up into my cup. So I want to encourage you to do the same thing. I want you to think about as you plan out the year, where is the plan for you? Where's the plan for your well-being, your peace of mind, the things that fill your cup as you're pouring into your children? And then the fifth pointer that I have for starting the year without overwhelm and intentionality and not overbuilding is to start lighter. Remember that you can always add things later because what you are the director of your school. And that's why we choose, part of why we choose to homeschool, right? And so one thing that I think we started this last year, but we're doing it this year for sure, is we are kind of rolling. I call it a slow roll into the new year. So we're starting with the core topics, like those core things, right, that absolutely need to get done first. And y'all know math and English be up in there, right? But I'm also going to throw in at least one of my son's favorite subjects, either science, excuse me, or history into there, because he loves those too. So I have to throw in some things that's just fun. But that first week, we're not having our full day. We're going to do just the mornings, start with kind of the core things that we need to get into, making sure we're getting back into a rhythm before we add on the other things. So you can also do the same thing and feel free to just add things on. Yeah, I think it's better to start light and build into the year as you kind of figure things out versus just starting the year from a place of anxiety and panic and overwhelm. And we know our children can sense that. And so we, as the parents and as the teachers, want to start the year off with the best energy that we can and the best amount of level-headedness, groundedness, and rootedness and joy. Dare I say joy that we can. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that that helps you as you start this year. Are you excited? I'm excited. We're starting fifth grade year for my son, third year homeschooling. I'm super excited. And if I keep some of these things in mind, that excitement will be how we start the year off and not a year of overwhelm. What is one thing that you are going to implement to start the year off without overwhelm? Like, would you implement one of these pointers? Or is there something you can identify that you are just not going to do at this at the start of this year? A promise I'm making to myself is that I am not going to start this year stressed, right? I mean, there are stressful moments throughout the year for sure. So, but I'm not going to start it intentionally, purposely set my mind to start it stressed. We're not going to do that. So let me know. But in the comments, is there something that you made up in your mind that you are not going to do at the start of this year? And or are there any of the things that I recommended or other pointers that you have for how you're starting your year off without overwhelm? All right. If you like this video, please do like, subscribe, share with a friend. And I hope to see you next time. And there's just one more thing that I forgot to share with you. I actually created a document to help me, especially, but then I thought I would share it with you. Start off on the right foot of not having any overwhelm for this school year. And one of the ways was taking time to pause. And as I said, previously, like sit before the Lord and really pray and ask God, what are the hopes that He has for us for the homeschool year? So not just planning from, what I think is best, but really sitting before him and saying, what is it that you desire for my son? What is it that you desire for me? And writing all those things down. So I created a vision and mission workbook for homeschool moms, especially. And it walks you through a process of how to think about vision for the year, as well as how to think about incorporating spiritual rhythms for you and your children, how to think about self-care for you and plan for that, and also how to create a mission statement for your homeschool. And so I will put the listing for that document below in the comments. Is actually uploaded to my new Homeschooling You Etsy shop. So I will include that link. And I just pray that that resource blesses you as much as it has blessed me here at the start of the year. Bye.